record.
Recording is on.
Oh, hello.
Awesome. All right, you guys all remember what he?
Uh-huh.
All right, well, Matt, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Hello. Welcome to Booth.
What are you eating, Matt?
Chicken sausages.
Ooh.
But we ain't got no buns, so there's bread around it. With some ketchup. Because we're not animals. Yeah. Okay, are you guys ready now? You guys ready to start?
Yeah, we're going. Yeah. Oh, you thought that we hadn't started.
No, I thought you guys were just not ready. Right. So I was trying to give y'all time.
We're ready.
All right,
you guys are good?
Go ahead and welcome everybody.
Everybody, welcome. Welcome to this extravaganza. We are here, and by here, I mean we're there. I'm here, you're there, and you're there. I don't know if you guys, this is Jaron to me at my screen. That's Brad. That's Pastor Dan. Is that the same order for all of y'all?
I think so. Yeah, I'm on the bottom right of mine.
Cool. Right on. Well, we're doing what we can for midweek because, the coroni's out and about. So we're trying to do what we can to connect with you guys. So we're going to be meeting with y'all every Wednesday still in this different format. So don't feel like we're not doing nothing for you because that's a lie. So we're just trying to connect with you and meet with you guys in any way that we can. So feel free to reach out to us if you have our numbers, but stay away from us physically at all points if possible.
Matt was definitely the right pick to do the welcome and the intro.
Yeah, this is obviously a manuscript. You guys know me so good. Let's shoot it on over to Jaron.
Hello, let me catch that real quick. Oh wait, I'm up for Brad. So let me catch that real quick. So I'm not gonna sing you a song on the live stream. I felt like that might be a little weird. So what we are gonna do is I have a playlist on my Spotify profile. If you just search my name, Jaron Shad, you can go to it. It says Midweek Music is what it's called. We'll go ahead and post it to our Instagram stories as well. So I thought this would be a cool time to be able to share some stuff. There's a lot of good Christian music out there that is not great to sing all together. And there's a lot of good wordage and everything in those songs. And I'm going to put up 5 songs a week. It's called Midweek Music. 5 songs a week that are just good Christian-based songs, good faith-based words that will coincide with what we're talking about. And so there's 5 songs up on the playlist right now. So that's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited about it.
Well done, Jared.
We'll go ahead and check that out.
Show us your hair. Show us your hair, Jaron. Give the people what they want, dude.
Hey, there's nobody here, so it's just us for us right now.
I can hear the people. Can you hear the people singing the songs of angry men? Look who's singing now.
There we go.
Show them your hair, bro. That's what the people want.
I would have lost a lot of money betting that Matt would sing a musical in this.
You guys know this. I was homeschooled, and so we watched all the musicals. I saw Cats 4 times.
Oh, Cats.
Yeah. So pretty much in this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to imitate what we normally do on a Wednesday best we can, with announcements, with some funny stuff, with some music or music recommendations, with some reflection, and then with some teaching. And so we're in this series called Save the Date, where we're kind of wrapping it up this week. And Dan is going to teach right now. We might interact a little bit. It's kind of a cool, this new format is kind of an interesting one. So we'll probably interact a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So Dan, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be teaching and excited, that for anyone that can engage. So glad to see you. I feel like I should say welcome to my home. Particularly, this is an odd corner of my bedroom, but it had the best lighting. Right behind me is my twins' room. And so if you hear loud noise, like they're just having a blast, they send their greetings. Everybody's got company at their house. So welcome all. Today, teaching, I've got 1 Bible verse, 2 illustrations, and 3 questions. So you can totally track with me. with what we're going to do. I want to start with an illustration. Imagine that you are in a completely dark room. There is no artificial light, no natural light. It's just dark. And then off to one side, somebody turns on one flashlight. That flashlight, the light kind of floods, in a beam, in a direction, and it fills up a little bit of the room. And then as you're starting to appreciate that light, another light comes on from the other side of this darkened room. And now you have two beams of light that are providing a little more, and then another light and another light. You get to 10 lights. Eventually, a darkened room becomes a completely lit room when enough good light is present, or for the purpose of what we're talking about today, when enough good input is present, that's when things become fully illuminated. And you can totally see. Proverbs 11:14 is our verse for today. It reads like this in the English Standard Version, the good old ESV. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. Where there's no input, people fall. Where there is plenty of input, abundance of input, there is safety. Safety is a big thing on my mind these days, right? Like, what does it mean to be safe from the virus? What does it mean to have, plenty of food in the house? What does it mean to practice the right things with myself, my wife, my kids, my friends, all of that? And I'm looking for an abundance of input right now. This is a great example of this situation that we're all in. In the Save the Date series, we've talked about that being the right person or becoming the right person is better than finding the right person. It's more important to as you look inward, you build relationships outward, but ultimately you grow through your upward relationship with God. Becoming that person that God wants you to be is always going to trump trying to just find the right match, the right fit, especially in relationships and significant relationships. Last week, we talked about not making anyone our everything. What an important concept. Like this idea that God has called you to be in relationship and community and to not elevate another to the point that they have a role that just drives everything in your life. Today, what we're going to talk about is don't date in the dark. Mm-hmm. Don't be in a relationship that is a dark room to itself. Instead, invite light from every good source to light up that space so that you can see clearly and enjoy it fully. If you guys break up so that it's not like hurtful, right? I mean, it's going to be sad, but dating doesn't have to lead to broken hearts, brokenness, even broken friendship. If you do it well with good input, with good advice, good counsel, I believe these relationships can build you up. Now, dating has changed since I was a teen, and I think we should acknowledge that, right? Back in the day, if I liked someone, what I had to do was gather up the courage to pretty much go tell them, or gather up the courage. This was my middle school, was tell my friend that I liked them, and then they would go tell them, because that didn't require courage on anyone's part. I had so many non-communicative middle school girlfriends, but anyway, not communicative one. Anyway, recently, Matt and I think for me, Matt's right here. We got to hear at a conference, Sadie Robertson, of all people, describe current dating, modern dating. What's up, Willow? And what she said, it was a pretty good encapsulation. She said, look, oh, Jaron was there too. What's up, dude? All right. So she said, dating starts super subtle. And it starts with regular interaction over text or Insta or whatever. And then you slide into the DMs, right? And so now you have this direct link where you're kind of pinging each other a little bit. And eventually it moves into this phase of liking somebody. But what she was very careful to explain is that liking comes in all different degrees. And you start liking someone here, but then you like them. Then you really like them. Then you really like them. And eventually you're off the charts and you are in love. A lot happens, from what I understand, in y'all's lives to bring you to the point of dating. There's a lot of interaction way before you get to this point of saying, yeah, this is my person. And so much of that is private. So much of that is like phone to phone. It's, inbox to inbox. And it's a very personal interaction that you have with one other person as this relationship is building. And I think that's okay. But what I'd like to ask today is, should your relationship, when it gets to the point that it's really even love, should that happen in isolation of every other person that God's also put in your life? I wonder how many of you have had a friend who they got into a relationship, they got to that and then they disappeared. And you're like, where'd this friend go? Like, and the answer is, well, they started dating so-and-so. Should it be that way? Should it be that way for Christians is really what I'm asking. If we believe that Jesus is in our lives, he's called us to community, should we fall off the face of our friends and families, Matt, when we get in a relationship? But I think that we should kind of turn this question. I should turn this question not to, can I judge someone for doing that? But what about me? How have I reacted when one person in the world has wanted my attention? Do I kind of accept that there's no light in this room and it's just up to me to do my best? Or have I done a better job of inviting advice, inviting counsel, inviting light into my world for safety, for success? So, guys, I want to ask the Fuse team here. I want to ask, what relationships in our lives act like good lights to our lives? That the kinds of people that bring light, guidance, and counsel. What do you guys think? Let's go, Matt. Why don't you go first?
Okay. Yeah, my first thought is like old people, and not gam and wee wah and stuff, but like people who have experienced like maybe like a small group leader type person, or someone like even just a couple years older than us. A lot of times the parents can be rough, but they can be good resources too. But someone who's experienced similar things is usually a good person to do that with. Just like anything, like you don't pick a coach that's never done it before. You pick a coach who's older and has done it for a while and knows what they're talking about to shine light on different things. So someone who's older and maybe been through similar situations or things like that is my first thought on that.
Yeah. Matt, do you think, like, especially if I'm thinking about, I know you hang out a lot with 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, should they start talking with someone like after they have kind of a serious relationship going on? Not super serious, but, important relationship, or should they talk about that relationship early and often as it's growing?
I think it's always beneficial to start off with, for the analogy, like light on the relationship to start with. It's much easier to start with it than to add it in later. And so I think, especially for like junior hires, what an opportunity for like relationship with like someone in senior high or someone. It doesn't have to be like someone super old, like in their 20s or 30s, which is crazy old, but instead like
a parent
or even a parent. Yeah. But someone who's maybe just a couple years older could be a great help or resource.
Sure. Brad, what about you? Who are the people that are good lights?
Yeah. So I don't know. As I was thinking about this, when I think about like who we allow to influence, speak into our lives and who we look up to, right? As we grow up, those people change, right? And so in middle school, often your parents are still the people that you go to for everything, right? The people that you're talking to, the people that you're asking advice from. But once you hit high school, a lot of times what we see is that your friends become the primary influencers, the people that you're going to confide in, the people that you're going to seek advice, and you're going to do what they're doing, and you're going to want to do what they're doing. And so I would say, of your friends, who are the people that you trust to have your back? Who are the people that you surround yourselves with that hey, they care about me? Not just that they're interested or they have like an opinion on if, the girl is cute or not, but like they actually care about seeing me flourish and thrive. And they're going to say things that sometimes are going to be hard to hear, but they're also going to say things that are going to be good to hear. And so I would say, I would say friends, but not all of your friends, right? The friends that actually care about you and have your good in mind.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. All of that even made me think. So, I hang out with the Vine college students, and like my advice for college students is the same. It's, you're a young adult. You've got the capacity to do your whole life, but you shouldn't exclude good people and their input from your lives. Really ever. I mean, this is what 30-year-olds practice too, at least for wisdom, because in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. All right. So we're talking again about don't date in the dark. And what we mean is like, don't isolate yourself so that relationship is in a dark spot where there's no input, there's no advice, there's no counsel, there's no godly wisdom. Isolated relationships can suffer from all sorts of relational trouble. They usually don't end up going well. And it's not because they start bad. Most relationships get started for all the good reasons, but then they kind of turn bad because they get to like where they just can't see enough. They don't have enough wisdom on their own. So I have an activity for everybody at home. I guess do this when it's done, but just to think a little bit more about this, I want you to go to a mirror, look at your reflection, and then what I want you to do is slowly get closer and closer to that mirror, but pay less attention to your reflection and start to pay attention to what you can see around you. We could even do this with, the camera right now. And so what happens is the more you focus on you and only focus on what you see and get that closer and closer and closer, you end up losing your peripheral and what's around you. Being in a close relationship can become the biggest thing you see in your life because it's exciting. We get really into these things and we feel so affirmed, and it's cool, guys, to get close to somebody. But that can lead, if you're not careful, to not seeing the rest of your life well. It can lead to you ignoring or neglecting the things that you do care about and are made to be doing. And so what's the answer? Is the answer don't feel close to somebody? I don't think so. I think we're supposed to develop these relationships. So what about give yourself permission when God brings the right people, the right person, grow good relationships, but to keep that relationship as part of your whole life and to keep a view and vision of the whole thing. Keep good people in your life and in communication about those relationships because they are the ones who bring perspective. They bring light. All right. So, guys, I want to ask you, you alluded to parents and you alluded, I think correctly, that sometimes those can be the hardest lights to have these communications with. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's not. For you guys, do you have any tips for including parents through all the phases of relationship? The sliding into DMs and then the liking and the like. As these things grow and escalate, how do we interact with our parents to keep them as good resources in our, in our life?
I'll answer a little bit here. I think for me, I've seen different relationships I've had in the past, and I've seen that I want to say maybe a few of them I waited until almost the end of it, or they found out about it on their own. And there's been one where I talked to them about, hey, I kind of like this person, and then I never talked to them about it again, but continued that relationship. And then there's been one where I talked to them at the beginning and then at the end. And I think in those senses, I've seen that every time the best and most clear part that I've had in that relationship was when my parents knew. And whenever I was able to make that bridge to them and say, hey, this is something that I have going on in my life. I'm pretty close with this person. And I'm pretty close with my parents, but for some reason I just kind of isolated myself. And man, it does, it damages and it kind of almost helps you go down a path you probably don't want to go whenever you don't talk to them. But then at the same time, it's even as a 22-year-old, it's kind of weird for me to be like, hey, parents, I want to let you know about this gal here. It's just like a weird step to take. But at the same time, I think once I get past that fear, maybe for some reason, kind of that embarrassment that I might have, I don't know. I'm just able to speak to them. And then all of a sudden, it's clarity just kind of rises up. They're people that have been praying for me since I was a baby. They're people that have been there and have known my heart, known my being since I was born. And so I think that once I make that connection, which is such a close thing to my heart, that they know well, once I make that connection to them, they're able to speak into it in a way that I'm not able to come up with on my own. And so I think it's, for me, has been honestly a brilliant light for me. So when you're talking about flashlights and people, I think that my parents are the brightest ones. So.
Dude, that's cool, man. We should show this clip to your parents. I'm sure they would feel quite.
They might hear me while I'm talking loud enough to the microphone, so they might be just sitting there on the outside of my room like, hey,
dude, that's
just crying.
So cool. Funny story. Do we have time for a funny story?
Sure.
I'll be real quick. When Mandy and I really started dating, I've been through other relationships and I've learned to trust my parents. So Mandy comes over for lunch and I'm super excited. Now this is a time in life when like my dad and I weren't like fighting, but understanding each other was really hard. So I go back to my house that I was living at with guys. Mandy, you know, we all say goodbye. I call my dad that night. Dad, I really like this girl. What do you think? My dad starts laughing and he says, dude, she's going to put you in your place. And like, it's a moment I'll never forget because to be honest, that was really a positive note. That was not a knock on Mandy. That was a comment that like, this is a good gift to you, Dan, because I needed someone to keep me in line at that time in my life. So, yeah, I've enjoyed that, having parents involved as well. Listen, y'all, we're going to wrap this up, but the title, Don't Date in the Dark, it does remind me too that like we should probably also have some really good boundaries when it comes to physical intimacy with people that we're involved with. I think we need to remember the Bible speaks very highly of our bodies. And the Bible has an incredible value for our physical self and what we do with our body. Song of Songs, which is all about building good romantic relationships. It says, don't arouse or awaken love until the right time. I'm pretty sure that it's talking about physical side of love there, that it's talking about intimacy and closeness and physical connection. And the Bible says this is good, but it needs to grow at the right time. And what we see in Scripture is there are right times for, sex, and there are right times to hold hands. And those are at different points on the timeline, y'all. So a question that I would ask as we wrap up this series, as we wrap up this talk, is what kinds of limits and boundaries can you choose for yourself that will help you always keep a clear mind and see your relationship with wisdom when you are dating someone that you really like? What are good limits and boundaries for yourself? On a side note, everybody needs to think about this personally. No one else can walk up for you and say, you shouldn't do X, Y, or Z. You need to think, what does the Bible say? What is God calling me to? What is my family, friends, and godly counsel? What's their input for the best way to build a close relationship in my life? Those are questions we all have to answer. So, team, your opinion, who should or could students at every age ask for trusted advice about physical closeness in their significant relationships?
Yeah, so that's probably not something that I would your friends are still good advocates and good kind of conversation partners, but they're also trying to figure this out for themselves as well. Yeah. I would say this is a good conversation to have with your parents, as awkward, right, as it could be. And if it's too awkward, right, one of the great things about the way we structure even our student ministry here at Calvary with Fuse is that it's our hope, right, to have caring adults who are invested in the lives of students, who build relationships, so that you guys can get to a point where these are things that, hey, I don't really want to ask my mom or dad about this, but I know that my small group leader loves me and cares about me, and I know that they have different dating experiences and stories, and so maybe I could float it by them, and see kind of what their advice would be. Also, Matt would be a great person to go and ask all of your questions to as well.
I'm not sure if I'm honored or not by that. I was thinking while Brad was talking that it is really hard to talk to parents about it, especially when you're already in a relationship with somebody. Mm-hmm. So maybe before you're in a relationship, if you're single now, like it might be easier to talk to your parents when there's not like a person associated with the the intimacy aspect. So maybe like if you're in a relationship, it's easier to talk to a small group leader or one of us or something. But if you're not in a relationship, I feel like it would be easier to talk to parents then at that time. So it's a little bit of a timing thing, but just an interesting note.
I think as well, this isn't really a person you go to, but like what you said is like before you get in that relationship, you have that conversation. I think before you get in that relationship, for sure, you need to set the boundaries before you go into it to where you're just like stern on that. Like you already know before you get into that relationship, before you are influenced by that other person. And before you are influenced for your feelings your feelings for the other person, all that kind of stuff comes into play. It's important to get that set up.
Yeah. If you can't have that conversation with that person, then that probably not the person that you probably need to be in a relationship.
Got him.
Guys, where there is no guidance, people fall. But in an abundance of counsel, there is safety. We have no interest in any student isolating and being alone. We have every interest in you flourishing, building great friendships, great family relationships, and ultimately, when the time comes and the right person's there from God, build good romantic relationships. Absolutely.
Yep.
But do that with everybody involved. And that's something we'll all celebrate together. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Brad, you wrapping us up?
Yeah. So I just want to thank you guys for joining us. We're going to be kind of trying to come up with different ways to stay connected, stay engaged, while also bringing you guys teaching content, devotional material as well. So be paying attention to our Instagram, Fuse Mid Rivers, as well as we have a Facebook group that are mostly parents, but students are more than welcome to join as well. And it's Fuse Mid Rivers. It's on Facebook. We'll be sending out emails. We'll be sending out teaching guides to our small group leaders and to parents so that they can be interacting with this as well. And guys, we want to do this as well as we can, but let's just acknowledge that this is kind of a weird season. And I am trusting that God he was not caught off guard by this, and he is going to continue to find ways to build up our community. He's going to continue to find ways to reach people who don't know him. And so we would love to hear from you. We would love to, shoot us a text, give us a call, get on Instagram. We'll be doing some different live things here and there. So anyway, we will see you in this format again next Wednesday. But also make sure your friends know about this. So text the people in your small groups. Let them know that they can find us on YouTube. But we'll have links in our Facebook and our Instagram and our emails as well. We love you guys. We're praying for you, and we're with you.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure out how to stop this recording.
Woo! Siri, stop recording.